I'm Gina. Welcome back to Tight Shit Mama. If you are new here, I would love for you to hit that subscribe button right there as I put out a new video every Monday where I talk about getting out of debt, decluttering, meal planning, implementing routines, and a little personal development. So today's story goes back to June of 2019 when my mom invited me to go see Catholic author and speaker Matthew Kelly at a church near her house. I have read several of his books and I'd already seen him speak quite a few times, so I kind of doubted that I was going to hear anything new, but I was excited to go see him with her, so I went. And it was kind of what I thought. It was the same stories and things I'd heard and read already. But one of the things I did learn from Matthew Kelly years ago was a little prayer that I always say in church, which is simply, show me what you want me to hear today, or show me what you want me to take away. So while I was sitting there hearing these same familiar stories, I thought, let me just mutter the same little prayer. So I said, God, let me hear something that you want me to hear. Let me take something away from this night. And just about that time, Matthew Kelly said, pray bold. God loves bold prayers. And if you ask God to transform something in your life, He will do it. You just have to ask consistently and just wait and see what happens. I have had a love-hate relationship with being a stay-at-home mom since almost the beginning. I have felt bored, unappreciated, and at times I have even felt like a punching bag. But I have also felt that I was indispensable, that I was powerful, and most often that I was the glue that held it all together. But I overall have had a feeling that there was just something more that God was asking of me or calling me to do. So that night, as I closed my eyes, I asked God to transform my motherhood. And I prayed that prayer consistently for the next 9 months. Now, my husband and I are not that couple that goes away on vacation together. You know, the couples on your Facebook feed that it seems like they're always doing like weekend getaways and couples this and couples that. That just wasn't us. We love that. We just didn't feel that we are in that season of life yet. But we have stressful lives and our kids are getting older. So we thought it's time that we just get away. So we finally booked our first true getaway on an airplane without the kids. And we were going to Miami Beach on March 11th. But news of this little virus hitting the shores of the United States was starting to trickle in. And then oil prices crashed and the stock market was just going a little bit haywire. So my husband didn't feel like it was a good time to step away from his business. I tried to cancel the trip and get our money back, but it was non-refundable. And then I thought, oh, my best friend is celebrating 20 years of marriage. I'll just give the trip to them. So then I called back and I said, okay, I want to just transfer it to like a whole other couple. Can we do that? Nope, non-transferable. So I thought, okay, great. I guess we're just out a couple $1,000s. Lesson learned, no biggie. And then a few days later, my husband said to me, why don't you just go by yourself? You need a break. You could use a break. I had just finished coaching this big project at my kid's school for the past few months. And I was like, you know what? Really? Okay. And I love to travel by myself. So it was really a treat for me to be able to do this. I was super excited. And I wanted to share my excitement with the first person I saw. So when my 9-year-old daughter came into the kitchen, I was like, guess what? I'm going to Miami by myself. And instead of the excited little girl that I thought she would be, she burst into tears with utter disbelief that I would ever consider leaving all of them and going to the beach by myself. So call me crazy, call it the Holy Spirit. I don't know what came over me, but I was like, do you want to come with me? And before I could even think, I just looked at my husband, and my husband just goes, and she turned that crying completely around. It was like, are you serious? Yes, of course, of course. And she's really a good kid. She's my little one that I talk about on here that's the baker, and she's so good that she tends to fly under my radar and not get the attention that she probably deserves. So I said, yep, let's go. Let's do this. So, and she's a really good student, so pulling her out of school for a few days was not going to be a big deal either. So we went bathing suit shopping. We got her some new outfits. I got some different outfits from what I was planning on wearing in Miami, and off we went. We had a great time. We agreed to eat somewhere different every night for dinner, but eat at the same local cafe every morning for breakfast. We took a surfing lesson, and we learned to travel together. We took turns doing what the other person wanted to do. So for me, we took tours of beautiful gardens and historical homes, and for her, we went shopping. So we had a great time. And then on the Saturday of our vacation, we found out that not only were our schools closed, but they were closed for at least the next week or two. So when I went home from Miami, it was a whole different motherhood than I had ever experienced in the previous 13 years. But God has his way of getting your attention, and those seeds of my prayers from the past 9 months were starting to germinate. And part of the answer to that prayer, I believe, was God knew that I was going to need to be rested. I tell my friends this all the time. It's probably something I'll talk more about on this channel, but Jesus goes out to the desert by himself to pray and to rest because he needed to be rested to do the work that he was called to do. And I really feel that that trip to Miami was the rest that I needed. And when I came home, I was truly rejuvenated and ready to take on the task of whatever this quarantine was going to bring me. So I could see the transformative prayer that I had been praying was starting to take hold. The other thing I had to come to realize and be honest with myself was that our faith was not what it had been. We had been struggling with the Catholic Church through all of the issues that you all know, and we were kind of just going through the motion of going to church, and my faith in God never wavered, but I was beginning to question what we were doing. But when it really got serious and the quarantine hit, the first thing that came to my mind was we need to pray. And as the mom, a lot of times that falls on our shoulders to do that and to be the example for that. So I said to the kids, we are going to begin every school day with a rosary. And we have done exactly that. And now I don't want you to get this image of lollipops and gumdrops. Some days when I pray the rosary, I am yelling the prayers to get their attention and bring them back to where they need to be. Some other days, the little ones are playing Legos and they're just kind of listening. But I have noticed that my 3-year-old, now 4-year-old, has learned all the prayers, and she holds her little rosary in her hand. And the kids have learned that there are worldwide issues that they need to be aware of, and that those worldwide issues are now coming to our front door. We have lost people that we've loved to this virus. We have seen many, many families lose their businesses because of this virus, and their little worlds have totally changed because of this virus. But I want my kids to always know that no matter what is happening, prayer is first and foremost in our family, and this is who we are as a family. The other big part of our family is that we're outdoorsy. So every day we try to hike, walk at least around the neighborhood, or take a little bike ride. But that has been such a lifesaver for us. And I think that being in quarantine and homeschooling has just given me the freedom to be able to do those things, because there is nothing else that's pulling at our time. You know, we don't have sports, or we don't have activities. And if we eat dinner at 7:30 at night, it's okay. We went on a hike. So I do feel that God is showing me back to my roots of the mom that I set out to be 13 years ago. And he knows how to get our attention. And I think that this is what I needed. I needed this break to really look at my kids as individuals, to see what makes them happy, what makes them creative, what calms them down, what I need to do to be able to keep up with them. I've learned that my daughter, that is a lot for me to handle, she's probably going to be a really good trail runner, but that requires me to be able to keep up with her. So I've had to get back into shape a little bit so I can keep up and run with her as she rides her bike. But that's what she needs. She's like the little Energizer bunny that needs to go, go, go. And I'm just realizing that I need to be that for her, and she needs that to grow and be who God's calling her to be. So we're learning about each other. I'm seeing a budding friendship between my two oldest that really was never there. There's 4 years between my first two kids, so they're not as close as I would like them to be. And the kids are getting along great. We've pitched tents, we're camping outside, and I think most importantly, I'm saying yes to things that I just would knee-jerk reaction, be like, no, we're not doing that. No, we're not camping out. Why would we get all the tents out? Why would we do all this? That's too much work. It's too much of this. It's too much laundry. But I have the time now, and I can say yes. And I'm starting to see where God is saying, good job, Gina. And I'm starting to see where he's saying, you could use a little work in this area. And I feel like I needed this quarantine for this transformation prayer to really take hold. So the question I have for all of you today is this. I want you to think for just a moment. Imagine that this entire quarantine was orchestrated by God for you, and only you. Imagine that you had been praying a prayer of transformation, and God said, I'm going to get your attention. What would your prayer be? Would you ask him to transform your motherhood too? Maybe your marriage, or your health, or your finances? Or maybe it's finally time that you got the stuff in your house under control, so that you could be the mom that you were called to be, or the individual that you're called to be. So ask him for whatever you feel you need to be transformed in your life, because we've still got time. So take care, moms. Have a great week, and I'll see you next Monday.